Turtle Out of Calabria, written by Helen Barolini. I'm Ben, and then you also hear Jeremy and Katie give part of the presentation. Helen Barolini, Life and Education. Born in 1925 in Syracuse, New York, she was born to two second-generation Italian-American parents. Even though Helen was a third-generation Italian-American, she actually didn't know much Italian until she was in college after hiring a tutor to teach her the language. She graduated in 1947 magna cum laude from Syracuse University. She then traveled to Europe for a few years as an exchange student studying English literature at the University of London. And after studying in Italy, she met her husband, Antonio Barolini, an Italian writer. She then earned her master's degree in library science from Columbia University in 1959. Her and Antonio moved between America and Italy a few more times during their marriage. They have three daughters, two of which are teaching at Columbia and one who lives in Italy. Helen Berlini's career. She started a career writing for Syracuse Herald Journal while abroad in Italy and during her travels in Europe. She translated many of her husband's writings and books into English. She finished her first book, titled Umbertini, in 1979, which earned her multiple awards over the years following. The book was named after her grandmother. Her next writing was The Dream Book, an anthology of writings by Italian-American women, released in 1985, which received many awards and high recognition from many well-known authors. She has also published many other books in her career, the most recent being Chiaroscuro, Essays of Identity. Berlini has had many essays published in prestigious university papers and novels, as well as countless prizes and grants for her work. Throughout her career, she has been the author to more than 7 books and more than 50 short stories and essays. Turtle Out of Calabria analysis. The short story that she wrote in the Dream Book, titled Turtle Out of the Calabria, was released in 1985. Helen was the third generation Italian American, so she had slight biases towards Italian American culture. The story is influenced differently than most Italian American authors' influences would be in other stories, as her upbringing and her childhood were very American, with limited impact from Italian heritage. But as she aged and went into her early adulthood, she was able to learn more about her heritage and Italian culture. The story is written in English with multiple phrases or words scattered throughout in Italian. These scattered phrases and words are translated or explained in English within the writing. Helen Barolini engages the reader throughout the story while explaining her way of thinking and giving you insights into her past. Barolini is trying to show her way of writing from her perspective as an Italian-American woman author, which until the release of this book, the perspective of Italian-American women had not been documented.
Our character Helen in this story of the Dream Book, Turtle Out of Calabria, is missing her Italian lifestyle. The Italian lifestyle, in my opinion, greatly differs from the lifestyle in America. Life in Calabria is slow and relaxed. So a couple examples of how this would differ. Italy is the birthplace of the slow movement. The slow movement believes in living life in a more relaxed way and healthy. So something that branches off of the slow movement is the slow food movement, which we have previously talked about in class. The slow food movement was started by Carlo Petrini. He started this movement because a McDonald's was placed in Italy and he really did not like that. So the slow food movement focuses on good, fair, and clean food, whether it be from a local farm, a farmer's market, organic food, just a healthier lifestyle. In Italy, family time is highly valued. Families have many traditions together in Italy. A lot of them revolve around food, so recipes will be passed down from generation to generation in families, and they'll have dinners together every night. Sundays, they'll cook dinner together and go to church and whatnot. So, that could be another reason why Helen is feeling very lonely and very homesick, because that is a huge tradition. In Italy, people have what are called siestas. This is a daily lunch break. It takes place at about noon, and everything shuts down for a couple of hours, and it's meant to just either go home and relax or take a nap and just regroup to get through the rest of your day. Another big thing in Italy is walking to your destinations instead of driving. This is another way to spend time together and to slow things down, just by walking instead of driving. Another thing that Italians do is sitting down and taking time to observe. So this could happen at a restaurant. For example, people like to take their tables outside and flip their seats around to a street view and sit there for as long as they like and just watch the people walk by and just observe what they're doing. Stratas are another place in Italy where people like to take time. They are like town squares where people go and just hang out and enjoy each other's company. So, yes, Italy is a lot different of a lifestyle than any other country. They value a nice and relaxed lifestyle.
Throughout the whole passage, Helen explains how she has missed her previous Italian lifestyle. Throughout her life, she has lived in Italy before, specifically on a farm. However, she has since moved to America. From each of her previous homes, she only brings small things with her from previous homes. She says this as a part of my present life, this salvage of my past life, it connects me. This shows that she likes bringing things with her from her previous homes, so it helps remind her of where she's been. For each new home, she has an envision for it to be her dream home or dream house. However, she quickly realizes that there's no permanent home. She is constantly feeling homesick, and this is due to not being in Italy and not being in the same culture that she was so used to being surrounded by. In addition, throughout the whole passage, there is recurring talk of her patio, and she basically keeps on bringing this up because she has an envision for this patio to be a space where she can have friends over and feel like she is in Italy or have the nostalgia of being in Italy with grapevines and other things like that, like table made out of a trunk and wine. Simple, natural setting, the kind I had loved in Italy. This is what she had envisioned for her home and for that particular patio. She even moved an entrance to her basement, foolishly, she said, and she since regretted that. However, she wanted that nostalgia of feeling like she was in Italy. Patience. Helen realizes even though she's not a turtle in the regard of she cannot bring her home with her or her shell with her, as she goes through life, she does realize that she symbolizes a turtle in the aspects of her patience and stubbornness. And she attributes this to her heritage, as her ancestors in Italy would endure harsh heat in the summers, plagues, even bad farming conditions as their yards were made out of stones, not the right conditions for building farms and having a good source of income, in addition to the bad government that was there at the time. Because of this, and her, because of this, she, fuck. All right, well, you're gonna have to edit that one. Helen reminisces her old life of Italy. She talks about her previous home, about the vineyards, the grapes, the wine. Helen then talks about how she came to America for the American dream. She came even though she didn't want to due to the culture and everything like that. She came to raise her children where the motto is always upwards and anything is possible, basically. She wanted this just due to what was happening in Italy and the government there. She wanted her children to have a better life. She talks about how she sold her farm in Italy, and a couple weeks or months after she sold it, it was actually ransacked. So it just kind of embodies that she did not want her children growing up there. She wanted them to have a better future than she did. She also talks about how the cultures are very different there. This is seen in the quote: "In this promised land where grace and patience count not much, they learned haste, detachment, separation of family, rugged individualism, competitiveness, greed, and the right to personal fulfillment." This kind of goes against everything that Italian culture is based on. They're very family oriented, and they eat dinners together. They pretty much do everything together, survive together. And she realizes when she comes to America that this is very different than her previous lifestyle. In addition, she talks about a graveyard and how America is more set on death and looking and being in fear of death, whereas in Italian culture, it's the amplitude of life and its contemplation that focuses the Italian imagination. So, another kind of difference between the American and Italian culture. She also realizes that even though she's stuck in this new culture, she can't really complain because being stuck in something is not the same as choosing it. So, for her ancestors, they were stuck in Italy with bad government, bad living conditions, and all of that. And they had no choice, but she had a choice to come to America and she chose it. So she can't really blame herself for that. The overall message between this is the difference between American and Italian culture. This is seen in the hammock where she for one of the first things she did when she came to America is try to buy a hammock. She did this for the nostalgia of being in Italy, being outside in nature, enjoying it. Unlike America, where it's more goal oriented, Italian culture is kind of appreciating what you have and what is surrounding you. Helen also attributes her success to her heritage and everything that brought her, like her survival instincts, persistence, patience, hard head. This kind of goes into the whole idea of her turtle shell. Even though she can't bring her home with her like a turtle does a shell, she can bring with her all of these previous things that she has learned, her patience, her persistence, just from her heritage and from her ancestors. And she brings this with her.